Hello! Welcome to the third episode of Cooking on a Boat with Kirsten. Today we'll be making bread, but it's not the same bread that I was making when you were on the boat because I'm not very happy with that bread. So I thought about making the bread, the sandwich bread I make at home, but I thought that wouldn't work because I use too much honey, and honey is sometimes hard to find when you're on a boat. So I nixed that idea, and I really wanted to make the rustic bread that I make at home, but that requires me warming up the oven to 500 degrees with the Dutch oven in it, and for like an hour, and that's not at all gonna work on a boat because we'll run out of propane really fast. So I found this recipe, which is like my rustic bread, except for I get to put it in the oven cold, which means that I don't have to preheat the oven, which actually saves propane in both the breads that I wanted to make. So this one's like the best bread, and it's rustic, and it's like European. So this is how you do it. Okay, so now I know you're probably thinking, wow, rustic European bread, this is gonna be really hard, but actually it's really easy. So all you do is you take like 2.5 cups of white flour, and then I add 1/2 cup of this whole wheat flour. And this whole wheat flour is really kind of bitter, so I end up having to add some honey at the end. So the cool thing about this is that you make the dough about, well, anywhere from 8 to 18 hours before you're actually gonna make the bread. And then you let it rest overnight, which is fabulous because then you get up and you just cook it in the morning. So now I'm adding 1.5 teaspoons salt, and then you're gonna add 1/4 teaspoon of, oh boy, that was too much, yeast, which is not a lot, but then you add beer. Beer is the secret ingredient that it has yeast in it, so it helps it rise. So I have all of my dry ingredients in here, and I'm just gonna mix them all together so that they're kind of evenly distributed, just like you normally do in anything. And then you're gonna add 3/4 cup water with a couple tablespoons of extra water. And then I have this lager, which I've been using for bread, and you add, yikes, that thing totally popped off, 6 tablespoons of the lager, and it has yeast in it, so it helps the bread rise. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then you're supposed to add vinegar, but I don't have any vinegar, at least any vinegar that's like not in plastic, and I won't use vinegar in plastic because it's acidic and it'll totally leach plastic into your vinegar, which is totally disgusting. And this whole wheat flour, like I said, it's kind of bitter, so I add honey instead. Oh gosh, that was way too much, so it's gonna be awesome bread. And then you mix those all together, you kind of let the honey dissolve. So, and then once it is dissolved, you add it to your wet ingredients, which I'll show you in a minute after this dissolves. Okay. So now we just pour our wet ingredients into our dry ingredients, and you think, wow, you're making bread, you're gonna have to knead this, it's gonna be really hard. But this is the brilliant thing about this bread, it is no knead, or almost no knead bread. So you showing this, Isaac, down here, look, this right down here. So the brilliant thing about this bread is you just mix it until it turns into a ball. And if there's like dry spots, I kind of mash it in. And then the beautiful thing is there's no kneading right now. All you do is you take this gorgeous ball, you put plastic over it, and you let it sit overnight, and it will do its thing. And then in the morning, you literally like knead it like 7 or 8 times, which I'll show you tomorrow morning. And then you let it rise for a little while, and then you put it in the oven, and it turns out gorgeous. And I just realized I forgot to tell you where this episode is filmed from, and I am trying to remember. Joe's something. What is it? Joe's Harbor. What is it? Where are we? Joe's Harbor, Turtle Island, in the Broken Group, in Barkley Sound, on the west coast of Vancouver Island. And that's it for right now. Tomorrow morning, hopefully I won't be in my jammies when I do this, we will knead the bread and we'll let it rise for a couple hours. And then we'll put it in the oven, and then I'll show you the gorgeous bread that comes out of that. Good morning. Your bread, it is time to knead your bread. Your bread has sat overnight, and we're going to knead it. So I'm gonna coat my hands with a little bit of flour, and see how your bread's kind of, your dough's kind of sticky right now. Sticky and kind of stretchy. So we're gonna take it and we're gonna knead it like 7 times, magically transform it into a ball of dough. So the way you knead it is you just take it and you fold it over itself like this. And the goal is to not knead it too much, because if you knead it too much, that means your bread is going to be tough. But do you see how the texture of the bread is changing? So what, we're on like number 4 or something like that. I haven't been counting. Maybe you can count for me. And then I just fold it over itself and push it forward slowly. And I'm trying to keep some of those air pockets in there, because then it makes that nice, like awesome, like rustic bread crumb texture. And so I just knead it really slowly and see how it is no longer, oh, see, it's just about done. You can see that it firmed up on itself, and when you pinch it, see how that goes back? It means your bread is like almost done being kneaded. I'm just gonna go one more. And that's it. That's all you had to knead it. Look, you have like this beautiful tight ball. Maybe I could go, no, I'm not gonna, I think that's good. So now I just take it, and I have this, my Dutch oven here. I put some olive oil on the bottom, and I'm just going to slime it around so that we get olive oil all over the top of it. You're supposed to spray it with cooking spray, which is, I think is really gross. And so there you go. Now it's all oiled. And now all you do is you let it sit. I'm going to put the plastic back over it, and then you let it sit there for 2 hours. And then we put it into the cold oven, and I'll show you that in like a couple hours. All right, so it's been like 2 hours. So we just take the plastic off, and then come over here. So the bread has done its thing. It's been sitting there for 2 hours, and the way you know it's ready is that when you poke it, see how that spot doesn't readily come back. Remember how when I was pinching it before, it would like spring back immediately? So if you poke that and it doesn't readily come back, that means it's ready to go. So we are going to, actually, first of all, we need to cut an X into the top, because your bread's gonna rise more while it's in the oven, and you don't want it to like totally tear as it rises, because it's gonna rise quickly. So that's why we cut an X into the top. And then I like to sprinkle the top with salt. At home I have, you know, the delicious big like sea salt that you can sprinkle over top, which is actually way better than this, but I don't have any of that on the boat, so I just put salt on it. But those big crystals are like way yummier. So then we put the lid on it, and oops, I have a tiny oven, and this will not fit in there, so I have to take the top, I have to take this off so that my pot will fit into the oven, because otherwise it hits the top. So you put the top on it, and then you eke it into your tiny oven. But at home your oven's not this small, so it won't fit fine. And then I have to get it past, like, there's this little broiler thing that, well, it broke off. I have to like sneak it past. Whew. Okay, and then you need to turn on your oven to 425. So, or 425-ish if you have a stove that doesn't have a 425. There we go. So, and now we just leave it in there with the lid on for 30 minutes. And then we take it out, take the lid off, and put it back in for another 20 to 30 minutes. So I'll show you taking off the lid in 30 minutes. All right, so it's been 30 minutes, so now it's time to pull the bread out of the oven very carefully. And put it over there because I just happen to be making pancakes as well right now. and take off the lid. And there we have our semi-cooked bread, and now we put it in for the final 20 to 30 minutes until it's nice and gorgeous and brown. So we finesse it back into our itty bitty oven, which is easier now because the lids are not on there, so it's not hitting junk. And we will see you in 20 minutes, like 25 minutes, and our bread is ready. Voila! Isn't it gorgeous? It looks like real rustic bread. So we just pry it out of there. It's probably maybe a little bit stuck. I'm not sure I put enough olive oil in, but let's see what we can do. Oh, that was easy. It was not even fried at all. Not even stuck at all. I mean, I didn't even have to pry it. So I just pull it out of here, and I let it cool on a breadboard. Gorgeous. Okay, and now I get to show you where we are. We are Joe's Big Broken Group, Barkley Sound, West Coast, Vancouver Island. Thanks for watching the bread episode.